So today we're getting close to getting our little project here finished. From last video we went ahead and we got our brake levers and whatnot painted. There are a couple spots, where's the two on this one here? We got a couple holidays, so I'm going to make sure we get those filled. Same thing on this lever here, there's a couple spots that need to be touched up. So we're going to hit them quick first. While they're drying, we're going to pull off the custom intake I did so I can show you that, how I made it. We'll get that hit with some high temp paint, and then once that's done we'll look at hopefully our bars being dry enough so we can get them mounted up to the bike, and then we should essentially be done. So here we go. We're out. And we should be good. So next up, let's pull the carburetor and intake off the bike and get our intake cleaned up and get it painted and ready for a reinstall. So here's the custom intake I made. As I stated in my previous video, when the original motor is in this, the original intake and original carburetor will fit here up and under the tank somewhat, so it's out of the way. In a YX140, there are a couple things you can do. One thing I thought I would do but didn't do was extending the frame. So a lot of people cut the frame, extend it by 3 inches. Gives you a bit more extra space in here to play around. You can actually fit a carburetor in there, I believe. I chose not to do that because I wanted to keep the frame original. So what I did instead was I just made this custom intake, comes up, twist toward the front of the bike and then directly out the side. So now I have my carburetor mounted right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut off the gas, pull off the intake. I'll just take it off here. I'll leave it on the, actually no, I'll take it off altogether. So I'll take it off here first and take it off here. So it'll be easier to get at these once these are off. And then we'll get it cleaned up on the with a wire wheel and we'll get it painted. So that's the carb off. I'm going to go ahead and get the other 2 bolts, take the intake off the head, and then we'll, like I said, once again, we'll get it cleaned up and we'll get some high temp paint on it. Essentially, if you look inside, I don't know if you'll see, yeah, you can see, so there's ridges everywhere inside, you'll see that. So what that is Schedule 40 pipe cut in pie cuts. So it's like, if you look at them from this way, they're kind of pie shaped, so triangular, triangular, triangular. I did that so I could twist and maneuver and make the shape of the pipe that I needed. So you've got one side that sits on top of the motor, like this, my hand being the motor, and the other part comes out of the side of the bike where the carburetor mounts up to. So I'm gonna clamp this up in the vise, clean off all this rust because it is just bare metal right now. Clean up the ends again, and once that's clean, I'm gonna hit the whole thing, faces and all, with some high temp paint, and that way we won't have to worry about any corrosion going forward. Okay, let's get it cleaned up. Okay, so a bit more of this, and then we'll get it hung up and get ready to put some paint on it. So one thing I'm noticing on both faces, so you can see there's pitting, little imperfections, and I believe without using really thick gaskets, and you're going to get some leakage around the intake, and you can see both sides are like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a file, I'm going to clamp this up, and I'm going to file these surfaces really flat just to make sure they're good before I hit them with some paint. So I'm going to take care of that right now. So I don't know if you can see how the color is sort of changing on that, but if I look at it from this angle, you'll see the lighter spots where the file is taking material off, and the dark spots is where they're still low. So you can see this is not really uniform right now. So I'm going to continue filing, and once we're all done, we'll check it out, make sure it's good to go. So as you can see now, we've just got a little low spot here, one here, the rest is nice and flat. If I take something with a flat edge, like this hinge for example, you'll see it sits really nice and flat there now already. I'm going to take down these last couple spots just so it's completely uniform. That's it. So at this point I've got this side done. I'm working on this side. This job would be a lot easier if I had a belt sander with a flat edge or a flat side, because I'll just be able to push this up against the belt sander. Done. So there's a good chance there's a belt sander in my future, especially because I'm about to start another project which I'm looking forward to telling you guys about. But for now, let's get this one finished off. This is one low spot left and we should be good. So I'll bring it back again once it's all done. So blast this with a bit of air now, get her cleaned off a bit, and we'll go ahead and wax some high heat paint to it. Okay, let's get it focused maybe? Yeah. Let's go ahead and get it painted up. So since this is going to get hot because it's attached to the head of the motor, I'm going to go ahead and use a high heat paint for this. So this one is like a silver color, you can see on the cap. So it'll match the engine relatively decent. I'm not going to bother putting self-etching primer on this because I don't think the self-etching primer is going to do any good. Well, it's not going to apply as well because of the heat that's going to be involved here. So anyways, let's get her sprayed up. The thing is with this now, we'll want to do really light coats. We'll probably hit it with at least 3 light coats. That way we know we get a good solid coat overall on the part. That's coat number 1. Get the space here. And we'll let it dry. Come back in 10 minutes and hit it with coat number 2. Okay, quick coat number 2 for the intake. Okay, that's it for number 2. I think one more coat and we should be good to go. Okay, one last quick coat and then our intake is done and ready to be reinstalled. Well, once it dries. And we'll call that done. Okay. Bunch more drying. Anyone want to watch paint dry? No? And then we'll start putting some stuff together. So with the ATC 70 project come to a close, one of the things I'm looking at now for our next project is something I've had for quite some time. So I'll take you up into the attic of my garage on the lift, and we'll take a look at what we got. So I'll see you up there. The thing that we came up here to see, and this is, I guess, the heart of it. This is the motor out of a Honda XL 185S. It's a 1981. My brother-in-law had an XL 125S in which the motor went. So it was replaced with a 185 motor. So that's what we have right here. And then the rest of the bike is in 2 Tupperware containers in behind the patio furniture. I don't know if you see it. Yeah, you're not going to see that there. But essentially, that Tupperware container, the tan one and the blue one under it, anything that was on the bike that would fit in those came off, it went in there. Got our seat up there, kind of a crappy angle. It's our seat and our exhaust. I bought that on eBay like 8 years ago. And then we've got a frame that has been etching primed and it's just waiting to be painted. You see the old tank in there. Whoever had the bike before my brother-in-law took it and painted it a much darker color red. So like when I did the ATC, I'm going to go ahead and clean that up, do any metal work, and then any skim coats of Bondo if we need it. And then go ahead and get it painted back to the original red color. You can see the original red color coming through on the fender there, and I've got a new fender to replace that one. There's the back wheel, front wheel behind it. So that's the next project. So hopefully you guys like vintage Honda rebuilds, because that's what's coming up next. Anyways, let's go back down and check on the intake and the brake levers and see if we're ready to start putting stuff back together. Okay, so our levers are nice and dry, so we're going to go ahead and get them put together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the clutch lever first and get that one reinstalled, and then we'll do the brake lever and get that one installed. One of these has a bigger opening, and it looks like it's this one here, that being the brake lever, because the barrel on the bolt is actually a bit bigger. You can see these when you compare them. This one here is a lot thicker. Well, a lot now, but you know, thicker than this one. Get a wrench and tighten that up, then we'll put it on the bike. It looks a lot nicer than when it was silver. I think so anyways. It should be nice when we got 2 matching levers now. So get it hooked up, and then we'll move on to the brake lever. So just want to drive this in taut. And lever's actuating here now, so I'm going to give it a little bit more. And there's still a good, almost a centimeter of that inside the lever itself. That should be good. I think I could route that maybe right around the other side of the frame. I think I'll leave it there for now, should be fine. Okay, on to the brake lever. So one of the things I want to check quickly first is that the thick brake cable, which is pretty girthy, is going to go into the groove here. So I had an issue with that, and you can see in trying to get that to go in there, it's not going through. Well, it is, but it's really tight. So what I'm going to do is I've got a small set of like precision files, and I'm just going to file down this surface here and the upper part just enough so I can slip the cable in comfortably. So let's set that up and get a little bit of filing done. Just about. You can see it fits through on the back good. It's just a little bit tight on the front there. This does go through, but I'll just give it a little more, and then we'll get it mounted up to the bike. Feels good. Okay, let's get it mounted on the bike. So make sure these look half sensible, so we'll put them at the same elevation, angulation, whatever, and then plate them down. Then we'll go ahead and get our barrel installed and get our cable in there. Let's just have a quick look, see how we're looking now with both of those set up. So we've got our two nice black levers now. We've got our clutch lever, a little bit longer than our brake lever. Pretty sure that's unintentional, but whatever, it'll work. And then now let's hook up our back brakes. Once we're done hooking up the back brake, we can get our intake on, fire things up, and see how we're doing. Okay, now that we've got the back brakes hooked up, we're done painting our intake. We're gonna go ahead and get our intake mounted back up, get the carburetor back on that, and see if we can't fire up and go for a quick run out through the driveway and back. Here we go. Okay, it's nice and snug. I think now because I had these flush better, I'm gonna have a better seal. I think she's gonna run a bit better, which I'm looking forward to. So let's get the carb on. Finally hook up our gas line, just pop it on, turn our gas back on. She should start to pull when she starts putting a bit of suction through when we start kicking her. And other than that, let's drop her down and see if she'll fire up for us. So guys, at this point all the major stuff is done. You see it's not running the greatest. I think it's because of this knockoff Chinese Mikuni carburetor that came with the motor when I bought it. The person I bought it off said it was a proper Mikuni, but when you look at this one versus the actual VM26 Mikunis, there's a major difference. So I'm thinking that the main jet in this isn't big enough. It's not getting enough gas. I got to choke it out a bit to get it to run properly. So what I might do is I might take some time and drill out the main jet a bit. I've got some thou bits there that we can do that with. Should be able to get it running a bit better. But other than that, it's the half link for the chain, a bit of a tweak on the carb, and we're good to go. And so yeah, like I mentioned, stay tuned because the next project we got coming up is going to be our Honda XL 185. Well, Honda XL 125S with the 185S motor. Thanks for watching.